Guys, and welcome to another edition of the Kevin Moore Show. Now on today's show I'm about to be joined by my guest Patty Greer. Now Patty is a prominent UFO filmmaker who produced 8 full-feature UFO films in 10 years that received 8 prestigious awards, including 5 EBEs at the International UFO Congress Convention. Her films offer unrelenting evidence and explosive footage of crop circles being produced by spinning plasma balls of light. Now Greer's conclusion after producing 8 UFO films and working closely with Penny Keel, the real lab partner of the great scientist William Levengood, for the final 16 years of his life, is that crop circles are produced by counter-rotating spinning plasma vortices coming out of the earth, not from the sky. Now she joins me today to discuss her work and the ongoing issues in the distribution of her movies with Gaia TV and other aggravators in the industry and the current state of ufology. Patty Greer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
Now I'm going to link your previous interview up in the description below because you came on with Lana, I think it was before. You was on one of her films. Just remind me of Lana's last name. I can't really, it left me my brain.
Oh, Lana Marconi?
Yes, that's it. Yes. Yeah, Lana Marconi.
A great Canadian filmmaker.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot. That's right.
That's right. I was living in Amsterdam. I was living in Amsterdam at the time, and you two came on. And it was The Resonance, that was it. It was for that movie you came on.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did I talk about my work or films or just
you
the Resonance film?
You did a little bit, but I never got a chance to interview you, right? So it's funny that at this particular time now, when I've reached out to you for a number of reasons, and you were able to do this interview today, and I really want to talk about your work, but I think it's really important to address some other things just first of all. So obviously there's lots going on in the industry right now. And I call it that because it is that a little bit. Before we get into that, right, you've done, is it 8 movies? Is that how many movies that you've done?
I've completed 8 UFO films and received 8 awards, including 5 EBEs at the International UFO Congress Convention for Best Film, Best Music, and last year People's Choice, and a couple of more Best Films. Yeah, the kind of push buttons. The films really pushed the field of crop circles. I went to places that the other filmmakers hadn't gone, which was the lab of the only scientist that proved they were real, and it was suppressed all these years. So, yeah, my final film, I thought, Crop Circle Diaries, explained the entire science of how crop circles are really made, and the fact that the communication actually happens between the 2 fields of spinning plasma right before the fields go down. And we have so much footage and evidence in my films, but a lot of it has been amazingly suppressed for decades.
Right. Okay. So now I went on to Amazon.co.uk and .com today, and I saw a number of your films on there, but they were just the DVD versions. Is that right?
What you saw, oh God, thank you for mentioning it, Kevin. Those are all stolen films. Those are all international fraud. Every single thing you see of my work in Europe, I canceled my European Amazon, Denmark, Germany. I had to quit Japan because there was too much hacking going on. And just this week, I found the hackers because so much is blowing up in America in the field. It used to be the field of ufology. It's, what did you call it? Not the circus, but the business. The business of ufology is what happened once we got completely infiltrated. And luckily, I think we're at the end of that chapter.
Well, let me just cut in there, right? Because so basically, so these are the films that I saw on Amazon. Something like this it was. Orbs and Light Beings, UFOs, ET Abductees, Crop Circles Update, Women of Today, Crop Circle, oh gosh, I can't read my writing there, Crop Circle, I've written something down here. I do apologize, but see, but basically what you're saying is all the DVDs of yours on Amazon's, they're pirate versions. They're not your original copies.
Right. And somebody wrote me that actually bought one. They're all $20 from me at my website, cropcirclefilms.com, and I ship all over the world. But I think their prices are like $65 and $85. And so you pay Amazon. Amazon allows the money to come in and the shipping, and the customer gets nothing. And the customer complains and they get nothing because these people are just fraudulent advertisers, and they're all funded through, unfortunately, what turns out to be what they call spooks here in America is what they're calling them, the guys hacking me. And I've had an interesting week where I traded some of the most important data, in my opinion, in my career, with this secret group of people that work at the corporation that's been hiding my film.
I think before we get into that, right, I just think there's a bit of a chronological order I'd like to do this in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know where you're going, right? Don't worry, we're going to get there, right? So hang on a minute. So if your films are pirated copies on Amazon, right? That isn't unheard of that people will pirate films, right? And it's, you know, so I mean, what you're saying is that you feel that you've been targeted and your films are targeted and targeted to be pirated. But what if these are just people that would pirate any films and they know that the UFO crop circle films would sell well, so they've just pirated and put them on the Amazon platform?
I have 275 individual stolen ads. I mean, fraudulent ads of stolen material that has no permission to sell. And the prices went up to $750.64.
What is an
on
ad?
One of these
what
ads.
is an ad? What is that? What do you?
An ad is on Amazon. It looks just like me selling, except the price is inflated, and the company selling it has no permission. It's copyright infringement.
Yeah, and I'm guessing because you're you're a single filmmaker, it's difficult for you to go after all the copyright infringements, isn't it?
Well, if you want to get realistic, after I caught them doing 135 fake ads in America, and I gave up on Europe. I actually canceled Europe because I couldn't get them to pull down all the stores. And most of them are going to a store called Smaller World Futures or Small World Futures. They have small versions of the name, but it turned out to be the address to find them was at the end .gov.uk. So son of a gun. Okay, well, in the same week when I caught them on Vimeo, my $4 rentals went to $651.34 to rent in the same week as the big drop on Amazon. And then on YouTube, my original music that I wrote and sang and played piano on, there was copyright infringement on my music.
All the time. That happens all the time. That's very ripe on YouTube, that type of stuff. Trust me. As a YouTuber as well, that happens all the time.
I'm okay with you minimizing, but if you saw the photos of 9 packages I had stolen from my post office box and then put back in compromised with, but you know, again, it's hard for you to understand. It's added up to so much for me. And when I saw that they had actually started hacking Crop Circle Diaries in the UK recently was the very same week when a group went public exposing, I think, the biggest fraud in ufology's history, which is what's coming down in America now. And this group just went public, and then they started writing me and other journalists.
What group is this? What group is this?
They call themselves GEM, and it's the Gaia Employee Movement. And Gaia is this little company in Colorado, but unfortunately it's not little enough. They have a lot of, shall we say, suspicious funding, endless funding, and they've bought up pretty much every religious or spiritual or psychic or wizard school, and heavy duty stuff has been going on with the events that they throw, where a lot of people are getting hurt by we have pretty well proven directed energy weapons.
Right,
And
right,
it's
right.
gotten so
I don't know if I believe in.
serious here.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in scalar weapons and all that kind of stuff being used, right? But let's just bring that back to your films here for a minute, because this is a really important conversation. This is with your movies. Then, how many of your 8 movies did you sell to Gaia?
I didn't sell them any. I had a number of offers for distribution, and I hired them. I allowed them exclusive rights on my first 4 films. So for 4 films, they gave me a few dollars up front, nothing compared to what I spent to make the movies. And they made me promises of grandeur. And, you know, I was feeling pretty lucky because they were new, I was new, it was hip. And next thing I knew, my movies disappeared. They didn't do any distribution. My movies have been in their freezer now for 5 years, the first 4. But somebody else, or them, I don't know, I didn't know until 2 days ago, that somebody had spent a friggin' fortune hacking all 8 of my films and my music and my collection of movie sets that are like all of them in one box for half the price. But since 2009, they've been hacking. So that was my music, and now in 2013 they began hacking the films, but now it's just been insurmountable, and I know who it is.
Okay, so just going back to the 4 movies, because there's so much to talk about here. Just going back to the 4 movies, right? That you sold, that you licensed to Gaia. Now, I'm guessing when you licensed those movies, have those movies ever appeared on the Gaia platform for people to watch?
Yes, they appeared briefly, and they were in their catalogs. I think I had 6 months of selling, and I think basically they wanted the money back that they'd given me. So they got it, and then it went in the freezer. So they did put it up for 6 months, and I had really great sales on, what do they call it? Satellite TV. All those, you know, where they pay special to see a movie. We did really well, and so my first few checks were like, wow, really impressive. But unfortunately, by the time the check came to me after I spoke with the royalty people, it was a fraction. And so right from the beginning, I was like, well, wait a minute. And then that guy was fired. And then another royalty person was fired. And I think there were 4 fired. So I'm like, wow, the left hand. Anyway, the punchline is I've given up on integrity with them for years. I've given up on income. But the hacking of all 8 films and my music and my collection sets is not like what you're minimizing, with all due respect, which happens to a lot of people. This is something that's been very intentional, and ultimately it's because the combination of my 8 films proved crop circles are real, crop circles are coming out of the ground, they're a natural, scientifically proven, I don't even know what to say, it's a science that is rotating vortices coming out of the earth. They're actually coming out of the earth with intention, and right before the circle goes down, these plasma vortices of spinning intentional stuff that's real and very real, proven in the lab, is producing superfood that can save the world's population food. This is huge. It's really important. And in my film, Crop Circle Diaries, the woman that worked in the lab unfortunately said, which I think is what's troubling these people, is that we can create or destroy matter when we know this technology. So what we wanted to do was bring the technology to bring back the food supply across the planet. But I think we're dealing with some lesser than good people that are working against humanity.
Right. But this technology that you've discovered, I mean, we can't reverse engineer this technology, can we?
They sure did.
They sure did.
They sure did. Yeah, totally.
Who reversed engineered this technology which is the brainchild behind the crop circles?
William Levengood. And he was a brilliant scientist since the 1950s. He was a scientist studying plants and soil. And when somebody brought him the first crop circle samples with the blown nodes where they bend and they're exploded, they're stretched, he left everything else behind and he went right into crop circle research, and that's all he wanted to do. So after a few years, he was working with Burke, Talbot, and Levengood, which was two brilliant scientists, and then Nancy Talbot, who was kind of the public speaker for their scientific brilliance. And then they had a fight at the lab and they kicked Nancy out, and then the scientist died, and only a few years ago William Levengood died. And it was the strangest way I met him, and it's too out there to go on the air. I would sound woo-woo when I'm not. I'm really grounded, especially now. And in Crop Circle Diaries, I tell the truth of how I met William Levengood a year after he died. And it's too weird, but it happened. And then I met Penny Kelly, who was his real partner that nobody had ever heard about, and presented it in this film. So that's where the technology came from, an actual lab, and it was reproduced and reproduced and reproduced. And then he created a machine in the lab that was causing seeds to grow like super seeds, just like they were doing in crop circles. So yes, he did recreate it, and then bam, they lambasted him to get him quiet. So I come in like anything, and yeah, I've been dealing with some real scumballs, but my life is good. I don't really care. I got to go in the crop circles.
But the crop circles that are out there now, I mean, you know, obviously it's the crop circle time in the UK and Wiltshire, right? I mean, if I was to go out there now and find crop circles, well, I mean, you'd have to be in the place because they just come up, don't they? I mean, and you have to be there at the right time. But if I was, I mean, that machine that was suppressed, that technology is not generating those crop circles now.
That machine has nothing to do with generating circles, nothing at all. That machine in the lab it was in Michigan, was recreated after they figured out how it's going on in crop circles. And I loved it that you coming up, because you're getting it, that they're not space aliens or satellite shooting down lasers. This is really Earth communications. But Kevin, the coolest thing about the Earth communications is it doesn't leave out humans and it doesn't leave out other dimensionals, but it always includes the Earth, and it always includes water, because 96 or 7% of the crop circles that we had documented on maps years ago consistently all were sitting over an aquifer of water. And the same high percentage were all sitting over a ley line, which is a direct line to sacred sites. And the Avery Stone Circle, which is the epicenter of appearances of crop circles, is sitting right. The two most powerful ley lines of Earth are the Michael and Mary lines. And of course, they're going to cross in two places on the Earth as they pass each other. And they pass each other right there at the edge of the Avery Stone Circle. So the frequency is really high. The natural energy is really high. And then they've got these huge sarsen stones that are filled with granite and quartz. And quartz, being this great communicator, holds all this energy. And then you've got these huge stone circles, Avebury, and of course Stonehenge, that everybody knows, but they don't hear about Silbury Hill or, you know, all these other little sacred sites. And Wiltshire is laced with sacred sites more than anywhere else in Europe. And the energy of people walking across Europe, the pilgrimages for thousands of years of people going to Stonehenge to pray for good things. And then going to the Avery Stone Circle, it really raises the frequency, and it also keeps that druid energy there in those sacred sites. I think that clearly by the locating on the maps, we can see that it is about water. It is about high energy of spirit. That's where crop circles appear. And you're living near it. You should get down there.
No, I'm going to. I'm meeting another a channeler that's coming down there soon. I'm going to be filming her down there, Sean Randall. But okay, so your documentaries have proven that, or not proven, but they're actually you've tied it up that actually these are a natural occurring phenomena from Mother Earth. These amazing crop circles that you've been in for so many years right now, and I've made these incredible 8 documentaries. Yeah, so these are not, you know, some are caused by people, by crop circle makers, but the majority of them, it's a natural phenomena of Mother Earth, whatever this is, right? Whether it's whatever they are, right? But they're also as well highly healing as well. When you go into some of these circles, you've been healed yourself in crop circles, haven't you?
I would never say I've been healed, because I'm still dealing with what I had, but I was extremely distracted. That I will say. Some people get healing, some people move more in through their ascension, through their portal. For me, it was about, holy crap, I'm supposed to do this now. What I went there for was to heal from mercury poisoning. I did not heal, but I've been so distracted that I forgot to care. And I'm just curious, is this your film or Sean's film that you're doing down there?
This is my film on channeling.
We'll talk about it after the show. Remind me.
Okay.
Anyway, the one thing I want to mention about going to the crop circles is that we have a research center. And years ago, it used to be called the Silent Circle. And this really questionable guy with wicked eyes, Charles, owned the Silent Circle. And that's when I was going regularly. And I'd be there like 9 weeks in a row. Filming and flying in these little planes and seeing the crop circles. And I would sometimes meet up with Barbara Lamb, who's years older than me. Marvelous, oh my God, experienced. So I've been in more than 100 crop circles. Barbara Lamb has been in more than 2,000.
So what is the properties then? What is the properties of a crop circle then, do you think? What is the purpose of it? Is it just a naturally occurring phenomena? Or is there some sort of message that's in there for someone else or ourselves as well?
I'm glad you asked. Okay, let's get back to the science, where it's always the earth, it's always the water. Very important. And so as you think of spinning plasma coming out of the earth and then going through a layer of water, you've got to know that that energy is out, that information is spreading out through the waters of earth, going out to tributaries, you know, and then this is how it travels. Plasma, on the other hand, we think of blood. I mean, we're so off. The basis of all energy is plasma. And when we learn to start working with the plasma fields, we're going to be a whole lot smarter as a species. So as the mother is spinning these plasma intentional fields to lay down a particular crop circle of, say, the hummingbird, and she spins it through the water, and the water gets a message. But say there's a group of people sitting in a crop circle praying and staring at a photo together, which we've done many times. And I have 3 absolute on-camera incidents where we created a crop circle. And I don't mean we necessarily, I was there, but my group of croppies, and there they were. And so 5 of them are sitting there looking at this image of a tile, of a particular tile from a church. And 2 days later, identical in a crop circle, and we had documented it. And it wasn't a simple circle. This was a circle with 5 Celtic crosses going at a diagonal and a square inside the circle. I mean, it was really specific, and it showed up in a crop circle. When I was there in 2014, and now this is an interesting one, so the point of this is that sometimes when humans are focused together and they say, I want to create a crop circle, it shows up. So what's going on? There is a group of powerful people setting an intention, sitting on the earth, and the earth is listening. We forget that she's alive. We grow hair, she grows trees. The earth is a living, breathing goddess. And so as people are praying something really important and they're saying, show it to me in a crop circle, she's probably going, yeah, people that speak the language. And so she delivers. 3 incidents within my 8 films of manifestation, and bottom line, one of them was me. And when it happened to me, I was so taken aback. But I just had something else happen 4 days ago, where the circle makers, the earth, it's just in my face. I can't even hide from truth being thrown at me, and it just keeps reminding me. But when humans ask for a crop circle, a lot of times it shows up. So now we have the element of human consciousness, the water, and the earth. But every now and then we'll get a crop circle that is this orbit layout, and there's all the, the layers and the planets, but Pluto's missing. And for some reason that was a really County 10 at the Avebury Manor, I think it was, property. And bang, this thing goes down, and I flew over it and I filmed it. And it was beautiful, and it's on the cover of this movie. Beautiful, simple formation. And I asked my friend Nick to stand in the middle. He was so efficient. There he is. And, just a simple formation of the planets. But Pluto was missing. And the next day we woke up and the farmer had raked a couple of white lines through the field, ruined it visibly from above. And everybody's like, damn, luckily I flew over and filmed it. So I put out my photos and footage everywhere. And so we got to see that it was, but people were whispering, about, oh, is this Nibiru? And, everybody thought it was all heavy, and that's why the farmer was forced to mow it out, or did he not want people on his property? That's when they come and do it. But do you know what happened? And this is the best. We wake up the next day, and the circle maker herself, splat! That farmer's field had 10 more formations, spit all over the field. And it was like, you try and mess with the mother, she's going to pay you back. And his field was sprayed with all these funny little formations. And when I saw the photo from my friends that flew over first thing in the morning, I was like, it's squiggles, it's humans. And then I went in it, and it was not. It was unbelievable. In the field, the energy was like the hair stood up on my arms. I was tingling, goosebumps. That thing was outright the mother going, don't mess with me.
So to sum that up then, so basically you feel that the crop circles are a natural form of us manifesting and communicating with Mother Earth. And it's also Mother Earth's communication with us on a level that we still don't probably understand.
That's your perception. Mine is that the mother is always communicating with us. We're just not listening. So now the mother is sending up these visible messages for all of us to see, but also all the water to receive, and also anything or anyone flying over in an airplane or a spaceship or an orb is going to be able to look down and see. So perhaps that orbiting one without Pluto was perhaps some other dimensionals flying over saying, hey, Earth, can you get our way to Pluto? And so she just pulled it out, so there was a whole, I'm just guessing. But I think that there's been many formations where I've gone, oh, that is not of Earth. That's an other dimensional message. So here's my punchline. My belief, after everything I've studied, is that crop circles are a co-creation of the Earth, the water, us, them, and all elementals. And it's a co-communication where we can or don't have to be a part of it, but we're always invited because everything is plasma. And plasma is energy. So as I think, it's a plasma field going out with my thoughts. And I feel it's the same thing. So the mother feels us asking, and then she delivers a crop circle. So there's the earth, the water, us, them, and all the elementals, but also all of us receiving that co-communication. So it's really the greatest interaction we've ever had with the earth, the water, and all the elementals, and the other dimensionals. I mean, it's really an important co-creation. And if you'll remember, I think it was 2001 or 2, we had the Arecibo message. And what that was in 1974, oh God, can I remember the details? Carl Sagan and Francis Drake sent out this message from the giant 1,000-foot round Arecibo Tower in Puerto Rico. And we sent it out to M13 way out in space, and it had all these really specific details in binary code that we sent them about us, our body type, our DNA structure, the elements on our planet, and all these different things. There were 9 very specific categories of information about us. We sent it out, and we thought, all of a sudden at the turn of this century, we had 2 crop circles, and they were 8 miles apart, a year apart, but both were in binary code. And the reason they would do that is so it can be read and not misunderstood, because computers can read it, as can mathematicians. So binary code. Also, each of them was placed in a field in southern England with a huge telecommunication tower on the side of it. So they're probably thinking, oh, humans are so conscious, let's put it in a field so it's really easy for them to send it out. But of course, we didn't. One of those was the Arecibo message, and it was the answer, in my opinion, and the opinion of many real crappies, as compared to wannabes, that it was in a response to the Arecibo message, and all 9 responses were different, like they had bigger heads, smaller bodies. They had a different DNA structure. They had a different population. They had a different planetary layout. But the most interesting one at the turn of the century was their elemental chart added silicon, which at the turn of this century was, blasting into a worldwide phenomenon. So did we go to maybe crystal to silicon base? What is the silicon? Is that our makeup? Is it our computers? Is it everything, because everything is plasma? So we have a real phenomenon here that has been extremely well, because we're getting a lot of information and we are all a part of it. And what's fascinating to me, one last story, is that even human crop circles, even human-made crop circles, a lot of them are real. In 2014, I took Sasha Stone from New Earth Nation into his very first crop circle. And I was so excited because the photo from the air was this outrageous, gorgeous, ornate crop circle. We had to drive 3 hours to get there. So we get up to Dorset, you know where that is probably, and we find the crop circle, and I'm walking in it like, waiting for the hair to go up on my arms, and I got Sasha, and there's a drone, and a camera guy. We had 11 cases of gear. I mean, I was so excited. This is going to be my best shoot ever. And I walk in, and the camera guy, I'm saying, I'm telling Sasha, wait, I know it's your first crop circle, but, just wait. I'm sorry to make you act. And so, finally we get it going, and I'm in there, and I realize, oh my God, I have no tingles. I have no goosebumps. Is it because I'm producing and I'm so focused, and I've got, and I'm going, no, I feel nothing. Crap, is this a fake human-made crop circle? This is 2014, before I knew that even human crop circles are real, and this is how I learned. Oh my God, it blew my mind. So Sasha and I are walking in, and the cameras are rolling. It's a perfect day, and everything's perfect. And we get to the back of the circle, and I said, well, we got a sacred site up there, and there's a monument there, and we're definitely on the ley line, and we're definitely over an aquifer of water, but I'm not feeling it. But I waited for Sasha to do his rundown first, because I didn't want to blow it like, And so he did his first, and he goes, I'm not feeling it, and I expected more. I expected it to be. And so I finally said, well, yeah. But even though we're still like sitting on a ley line and all this, I'm not feeling it either. And there's 5 women sitting there in the circle. And so we finished rolling, and I had asked permission, before we started, do you mind if we just taping? No, we're just relaxing. So I said to the ladies, how do you feel about this crop circle? And 2 of them had their arms crossed, listening to us say it's fake. And all of a sudden, one of the women said, yeah, I have something to say about it. This is our crop circle. And I was like, do you mind if I roll camera? And she goes, no, definitely roll camera. And she's kind of pissed watching Sasha and I say it was a human-made crop circle, therefore it was fake. And she said, I want you to know that we are the QEG team, which is Quantum Energy Generator. They're building a free energy device, and they've been at it for years, and they're working really hard. She said, yesterday, we and our technical team were sitting in the Avebury Circle asking the Earth to send us an affirmation that our QEG was going to work. And she said, "This is our crop circle." And she held up a photo of the crop circle from the air that made us drive 3 hours to get there. Yeah, I said, yeah, I saw it. And she goes, "Here's a picture of our device." And her daughter held it up next to her, and son of a gun, it was like a schematic of their free energy thing. Now, I know humans probably had to have made it because it was all broken nodes, not bent, not blown, not elongated. They weren't like real crop circle nodes. So a human came in with boards and ropes and whacked it down. But how did this happen? The human was listening to the earth, and the human is a great artisan. And the human is one of those that the earth has chosen to be her artisans to deliver crop circles. Again, this is only my perception, but I think that some of those people that we think, oh, those damn humans, I think they're working with the mother. And I think it's to kind of soften the blow of how this is, so a lot of people can say, oh, well, if humans made it, then I'll look, and then they'll go, oh my God, look at all that information.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, thank you so much. At least we got in there as well, your work. That was important, because I'm going to switch back to Gaia as well soon. I wanted to get your work in there because... Oh, and just one thing as well. So you've got 4 documentaries that are with Gaia, right? But your other 4 documentaries, how are you selling them? Are they streamed online? I mean, do you just go to your website to get those other 4 documentaries? And which 4 do you still have available?
I have all 8 available. All 8 of my movies are available on my website, cropcirclefilms.com. All 8 you can see. 7 of them you can stream. One of them, the editor screwed up, so you can't stream it, but they're all streamable, $5 for a week, no matter where in the world you are. And I'll ship DVDs to you, or my fulfillment team will. 24/7, we take orders for movies on the website and on Amazon in America only. I would love it if your people would go to one of the Amazon ads of my stolen material and make not a 1-star, but make a comment that, oh, here's the stolen material, and then file a complaint. I'd be really, really grateful, because they don't care about me doing it, but they're stealing people's money. So anyway, enough of that.
So then you would ship internationally as well. You can ship to Europe as well, can you, or you can't?
Absolutely.
You can.
Every day.
Yeah,
I do it all the time.
Yeah. So let's just get back to the Gaia issue then. If you've got 4 documentaries which are stuck with Gaia, you must have signed a contract where you can still sell the DVDs and stream them online. But then, what is Gaia's role now? If you can sell the DVDs yourself, what is the lockup with Gaia then?
Well, I had hired them to get me on Netflix, Hulu, Vulu, Vudu, Amazon Prime, all the different things that only work with distributors. I mean, you got to realize that all these things you have to submit, but they don't let filmmakers submit. Yeah, they only let
it's called submitting it to an aggregator. So Gaia TV was acting as your aggregator then.
No, they were claiming to be distributors, and I signed an exclusive rights distribution deal. But the 4, the 8, it doesn't matter. I mean, they just didn't help me with anything. It's not like they made it so you can't find my 4 films. They just didn't help me. I trusted them to put them on Netflix and Hulu and everything, and they didn't.
No. But I don't think. I'm just going to say this. I don't think Gaia work with Netflix at all. I mean, Netflix work with other companies. They don't work with Gaia.
Well, I think you'd be surprised today who sleeps with who. I think you'd be surprised who has an infiltrator in almost every film, anything, certainly in America.
Yeah, but I went to see Gaia, right, to sell my documentary to them, which is still in the editing process, right? And that's why I find this a fascinating conversation as another documentary maker, right, speaking to another one. And when I went to see Gaia, I went to see Jay Wiedner, there was never any talk about distributing it on Netflix. That was not a platform they had. They were just interested in distributing it on Gaia TV.
Jay Wiedner, right?
Yeah.
This is Jay Wiedner. Okay, lovely man, you thought? when you met him?
Um,
That's Jay Widener.
we that well, that what is that? I don't know what that is.
This is one of many comments that Jay puts out, representative of Gaia TV, as one of the top people at the corporation.
Yeah,
that appears to be not only hiding but hacking my 8 films. Here's what he wrote to the public on a show that I did with Randy Moggins. And an hour before, 2 hours before the show, it was 2 o'clock. We were going to record at 4. Randy got hit with a directed energy weapon, and he was wiped. And he almost canceled the show, which is what somebody wanted to happen.
How did he get hit by a directed energy weapon?
Let me get to the end of this.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you, I don't know how, but I do know that I didn't know during the show, but I knew that he started 10 minutes late, which he never does, and he was talking a little slow. And at the end of the 2-hour show, we made it, and he said, "Can you stay on?" So he hit, unfinished recording.
Yeah.
And then he went to, he said, "Let's talk a minute." He took his headset off, and there was blood coming out of his ear. And he said, "Shit." And he took a Q-tip, and we're on Skype, and he said, "I got hit before the show 2 hours. He said it was one of the worst panic attacks I've ever had. I didn't think I was going to. 2 other people told me that in the last 6 months, having a tremendous number of directed energy attacks. Whoever didn't want me to go on Randy's show didn't want me to go on Randy's show.
But that's
period.
But you have to understand, right? I mean, for someone like me who's never had that energy attack, right? That does sound pretty crazy.
Well, not yet. I mean, sounds like you're setting yourself up. But by the end of the show, you might whistle a different tune. I don't know, Kevin. And I didn't realize you worked for Sean Randall.
Well, hang on.
Person that was ever
I don't work for Sean Randall. No, I've asked Sean to come onto a documentary on film. I don't work for Sean Randall.
I'm just saying, I've never been treated rudely by anybody in England except Sean Randall. But don't start me. I'm going to describe this lovely post. Now, this is my exclusive distributor responding to the show that Randy and we had 2,000 hits within a few hours, and it's still at 2,000 hits a year later. They've got control of everything. That's all I'm going to say. So Jay Widener, and here's evidence. I'm not making it up. He wrote on YouTube for the public, "Poor baddie Patty. Not only does she make terrible films, but she is a lousy business person. If she spent $30,000 per film for editing, then you got screwed," all caps. "If you tell insane shit about a company you are dealing with, then I think they have the right to shut you up. You have to tell the truth, baddie Patty. You can't just make shit up like you are doing. Everyone, I am warning you to have nothing to do with baddie Patty. She will say anything, apparently." So, Jay Widener...
No, can I just say something? Can I just say, so this was a response on an interview that you had just done, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And what interview, just remind us when was that? That was...
It was Randy Moggins last year.
Right.
I don't remember if we were talking about being targeted,
right,
or crop circles, but they go hand in hand for me, not for other people.
Now is he the guy that you worked with in Gaia when you got your distribution when that was going through for the films?
No.
No, you worked with someone else.
They used a woman named Anna Dara, who they had just bought out her spiritual cinema circle. So they used her to get... Yeah, they bought that. They bought the Melchizedek School. Somehow the Abraham messages have been severely compromised and the people brainwashed. I mean, I have witnesses of everything. I know that Gaia just overtook the Damenhurst School. Oh my God, I'm just watching it. But I live in the town where everybody talks, and they talk to me. And because I'm very public about this unfortunate situation, people for some reason come
Well,
to me. Let's go.
Can I just ask you something? Can I just ask you something? This is fascinating, right? Let me just ask you something, right? Just getting back to the 4 films with Gaia. So your gripe with them was that a deal was signed for the documentaries for you to distribute, for them to distribute them onto many platforms, right? But then you must have full rights for those films back to you now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to sell them and stream them.
I think once the SEC destroys them, if that happens, which was just posted by the GEM, Gaia employee movement, that the SEC is looking into them, you know, that's when I'll get my films back, is when the cards fall. It's a house of cards.
Yeah, but just so I can understand, when you say you'll get your films back, you have got your films back because you're able to sell them yourself. Is it you're just not able to take them to other aggregators because you've signed that with Gaia?
You have no idea how bad it is, Kevin. You obviously have no idea how bad it is in the field, and you never will, to be a woman. Whatever the problem is of these guys, and David Wilcox said to me in a 7-hour conversation when I said, why did they change their name? He said their branding lady said, Gay I Am is bad for your reputation. When it was Gaiam, she said, it looks like Gay I Am, and they changed the name and spent that much money. I said, David, don't pull my leg. And he said, no, that's why they changed their name. Okay, so here we are 2 years later. David just resigned from Gaia TV, and so did Corey. And I think they're going to lose a lot of their other actors because of the abuse at the facility. And there's a thing called Glassdoor, which is where you can review a company. And if you just go Glassdoor Gaia and read through the reviews, it's scathing. But everybody points to the 2 top guys, the owner and Jay. And Jay and the owner are being shredded. Jay and the owner are being shredded because their behavior is abominable. And it has years. And David and Corey and everybody else hung in there because of the fame and the ultimate promise of in something more, but the money all went
let me just say something there. Hang on. They are the only paying game in town. We live the UFO community. Look, when I went to Contact in the Desert, when I went to Alien Con, and when I've been to other conferences all this year, right, I realized that when I leave those conferences, it is such a small universe. I thought the UFO field, the spiritual field, was a lot bigger. It gave me a good shake-up to realize how small this field is, right? And you know what? In a small micro field, you know, Gaia was the only place, the only pair in town. They were a corporation traded on the NASDAQ, and they were the only paying people in town. Full stop. There's no one else that's paying. YouTube, you can't make much on there unless you're getting millions and millions of views per month, right? That for our field, our micro field, they were supposedly the only pairs in town. I don't see any others. I'm not saying that's a good enough reason to stay with them. I'm just saying, looking at Gaia from the perspective of where we're at with our community.
They did quite the number to make that happen. And they had a lot of funding to pull it off. And anybody that resisted and didn't obey, trust me, got hit with a weapon. Laura Eisenhower was hit 10 times in the last 2 years, and she's still going. I was hit 3 times, and I'm done. I said no to every gig. I wouldn't go to any of the ones you mentioned. And I'm not going to any of the others because I don't think you're getting it at all. This directed energy weapon happening at these events. And it's happened to so many people that none of us are making it up. I'm the only one that didn't go to the hospital because I've had it with that system, but I guarantee you there's dozens and dozens.
Yeah, but in this small field, in this very small field of ufology and spirituality, right? I mean, when, you know, who's putting, well, I don't know, I've never come across an energy directed weapon. That's not my reality, I guess. I don't know why.
Well, here's what's happening. Here's what's happening now. And I'm just going to take you to the punchline. Hit this punchline because I'm really worried. I'm really worried for people. So I know the corporations spent millions bringing in subscribers, because even I got a call from India. Hello, have you got your Gaia subscription yet? I mean, from India. So they're doing a mass pull to get more. And what they're trying to do is attract all the spiritual people and all the psychic people and all the anybody who's got a level of consciousness above a generic person walking on the road that's waiting for the light to turn green. So now they're building this membership as much as they can. They're sticking out these wonderful people that are now forced to run a narrative. And if they don't obey, they're going to get outed, whacked, hurt, removed. And I saw in front of my eyes the owner say, if you don't do what I say, I will destroy you and you will never work in this field again. This is how they talk to people.
That's so Hollywood. That's Hollywood talk. We've heard that from Hollywood.
I don't care.
But it's true though, isn't it? Other people have reported the same talk from Hollywood. That's Hollywood talk.
So all of a sudden, there's a new group that came out, which is their employees that are pissed. These employees are really mad because they've been compromised in more ways than you can imagine. Some of them have been there 10 years, so they've got a lot more evidence. But these are really smart people that have been gathering data and evidence because a really bad situation. And so all of a sudden on my YouTube wall and my Facebook wall, somebody called Jem was starting to post, we are the Gaia employee movement, and we are 14 members of this criminal thing that we want to take down, and we want you to encourage people, not me, but the public, to cancel your Gaia subscription. It's the only way we're going to get rid of them. And so they have a link to this change.org, and I'm like, oh my God, and I tapped it, and there's a whole website of their employees trying to get rid of the corporation. And wow, that's crazy. So a minute later, that link was gone. The hackers took it down. So the GEM people popped it back up and they had a new link. And so there it was again. And then it went out even more. And then I started seeing, oh my God, this is how they treat me. So I kind of took an interest and I shared a link or two. And all of a sudden they started writing to me.
Yeah.
Gem. Writing to me. And giving me really cryptic, bizarre messages that were pretty friggin' exciting. And I was like, oh, this is Jay Wagner, you piece of shit, or whatever. Or this is, you guys are just, trying to test me to get me to slander, which I don't do. I do fact, and I read verbatim. So whoever Gem is, I don't know how many people they're using other than me to drop their very heavy cryptic messages, but I was asked. And right. I tested them. I said, I need to know that you're really on the inside and you really know what's going on. So I said, who's hacking me and how is this level? And they answered me, and I've got it right in front of me. And I'm happy to read it because this came from whoever it is. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I don't know who it is. But it's somebody with the Gaia employee movement that's been on the inside of that company, close with the owner, and close with Jay, and close with Ja, the creepy doctor that was stripping everyone naked and asking them to turn. And he got silently removed after he got everybody to turn naked. They reported him. The Gaia employees reported him to the owner, who silently let him go, and he didn't get arrested. So he's working somewhere else in Boulder now.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. So how do you know that information you've got is true, though, of who's been attacking you? I mean, I suppose that there's always that question, isn't there? I mean, how do you know that is right?
I've known all along. I just now have it in writing from an employee. Can I
Right.
hold it up in a court of law?
Right.
Maybe once they get removed, once they get fully exposed. But I'm not encouraging you to take your film there. Oh my God, you'd have to be out of your freaking mind to give them a movie today.
Now, when you look at Gaia on the NASDAQ, right, they're actually not making much of a profit. right? When you look at their overheads and do the calculations. So when David in his resignation letter talked about how much he's bringing in from his perspective, actually, I don't think we've done the maths properly there, because actually they've got so many overheads and everything else. I don't think they're even breaking even. I think they're actually making a loss right now, right? And they've been making a loss for a number of years. Some of these big mega corporations, trade like that on the Nasdaq for a while. So I don't think they're the big company that people believe them to be. I mean, yes, they've got lots of buying power, but they've got a shitload of overheads as well. I just want to add that, this is a corporation, and I think because they're the biggest corporation in the spiritual field, I think it's very easy to sort of look to look at what they're doing as bad, and probably some of it is right. But any corporation out there they're all bloody mean in some respects in the way that they act and their policies and everything else. They want things for the cheapest price possible, and they want to sell it for the maximum profit possible. I mean, this is kind of normal business practices in money wise in one sense. I'm not saying the allegations that you've talked about there are normal practices, but they're not. But this crap happens all the time out there in the working world. I mean, would you not agree with that?
I just want to be polite at this point. I feel like you're still really optimistic, and it's going to be really hard for people to get it. And if you read the letter from David, he's very clearly talking about the Luciferianism all over the place, all through the films. If you go to Glassdoor, there are cameras and listening devices in every corner of every room. They're hacking into all the employees' computers right now, have been. They know everything about everyone. They're hacked into everybody's phone. And it's all on the Glassdoor employee reviews that nobody can edit. I don't blame you for not wanting to hear what I'm telling you, but if you read David Wilcock's letter of resignation, it clearly states this is a deeply CIA-involved Luciferian corporation doing horrific things than it has been for years. So
where does okay, now that may be true, but one thing I've seen in this field that I've loved for so long, I've been doing my talk show now since October 2008, which is not very long, right? But it's enough years, right? I used to love Art Bell, right? That guy was, I'm nowhere on par with him as an interviewer, right? But when I listen still back to him, it's a very grounded type of interview, and I think even back in the day there was grounded information. I'm so saddened at how the industry is right now, and the way I look at it, there is so much mental health illness out there right now that has muddied the water big time mental health illness. And that runs in through the people involved in this field, and there's no regulatory body actually. There's no regulatory body looking after this field like there is other fields, and things have just got out of control. I think I could replace mental health with ungrounded, and say there's so many ungrounded people out there in this field. It's just messed it right up.
Yep. So let's move to what's going on today that I think is really creepy and important. Is that if it's true or if it's not, I don't really care. A lot of people got hit and dropped to their knees, paralyzed. I'm still limping today. So Kevin, I'm really not happy with it. People died. There was an event where everyone flew, 3 people died. It was an event that wouldn't allow the takeover of the corporation. And so anyway, I really do believe that this employee movement is changing history. And those of us willing to be a part of it and not, I didn't write any of it, I didn't create it. The only thing I'm doing is sharing it. But I think because of the reach that I have with the audience I do, the people that I know at the high levels that they are, I was one of the people that they shared with first. And I'm pretty sure I was the first one that got the David Wilcock letter, because I'm the one that handed it to the people of choice that dropped it early on before anybody knew. And
has David Wilcock been on your side though? I mean, I didn't think he was on your side. I didn't think he was supportive of the problems that you had there with Gaia.
again, there's no side. I only met David once in person, and we didn't stop talking for 7 hours. That was our first meeting in private, accidental. Boom, we bumped into each other in Boulder. Once we started, we didn't stop. When I showed him the document I had about his company, he sat back and was stunned that I knew so much. And I said, good, now you give me one. Why did they change their name? And then he told me the gay I am story. It turns out that Jem is exposing the fact that these top guys are, in fact, not at all what they wanted to be perceived as. And they totally stripped who they are down to basically the owner and Jay. Very clearly, this is somebody on the inside that's been watching for years. And I'd like to read a little of this because I didn't write it, but I think it's really important.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
As history is changing. Only because and again, they're not controlling my movies. They're just not letting any good distributor have them. But considering now they're controlling all the distributors, all the UFO events.
That's what hang on. That's what I didn't understand. Hang on. Two things here. They don't control Contact in the Desert, do they? There's a lady Contact in the Desert. It's not Gaia that run it. I'm interviewing down in London in a few days. She's the woman that runs Contact in the Desert.
God.
Is she not? No?
Yeah, she is. She's one of the two owners, but it's not with her husband.
It's with Gaia then, is it?
Yeah. It's with a guy named the only person I've ever heard the most kind person in the world hates. Barbara Lamb hates him. And when she told me early on, I was like, you don't hate anyone. She goes, oh, he's not what you think. And then changed so much. I shouldn't be saying this if she's coming in a few days. Oh my God, what kind of film are you making? All my least favorite people. I'm sorry. Truth is, changed as soon as she started working with Gaia. And as soon as she changed so much, the entire board of directors, where she was the manager of the JT Joshua Tree Retreat Center, the entire management board of directors fired her last year. That's why Contact had to move. Changed. And instead of being the beautiful, amazing woman she was the first couple of years I knew her, she changed. And it's because of what's going on, I guarantee you. She's not the same person. And every time she came back to the office, she yelled, she screamed, she slammed doors. They'd never seen her like this. And she was fired, and the event was kicked out.
Well, hang on. But when I was in Contact in the Desert, and I was backstage. I was backstage when David Wilcock got off the main big stage that he was giving the talk to in front of 2,000 people, right? And he looked quite happy there. He looked very happy there. I mean, from what I saw him a number of times. I mean, I tried to get an interview with him, and it was impossible because, well, there's some things that I can't say right now, but it was just impossible. I didn't see a guy that seemed to be struggling with being there. But that was, I didn't, just obviously just briefly brushing by, I guess.
Showtime. Anyway, I'm not trying to convince you. I almost feel like I'm talking to somebody where I used to say, no, crop circles are real. Now, to be honest, when people are this intense about wanting to hang on to the old belief system, I'm trying to be polite, Kevin, but
speak your truth. Say what you want to say. This is a no holds barred show. Just say it.
You're representing a big part of our audience that's really misinformed, and it's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault. This was a really expensive takeover, and everybody is not getting it. If you didn't notice at Contact in the Desert that all the booths were lined up, but there was a big white tent over there called Gaia.
No, I saw that. Of course, I saw that. I mean, I just thought, well, they must have a present. They must have a. Yeah, I just thought when I passed that tent, I just thought, oh, they must have a big presence here because obviously this is the right genre of people that would be attracted to that type of material. That's all I thought.
That's all most people are supposed to think. Did you even notice Scientology was there? Because they always are. Probably not.
No, was it? I don't know. Where was it there? I don't know. Was it
So what year were you there?
this year?
Oh, I didn't go, nor
No,
would I. And I
no.
was worried for everyone. Yeah, they got kicked out of Joshua Tree, so they had to put it up at some lush hotel. But they got kicked out. And if you're interviewing people like and hoping to sell it to Gaia, and you ought to get Regina Meredith too. I mean, while you're doing Sean Randall, you ought to get Regina Meredith. Is she on your list?
No, no. Hang on. No,
I'm
that name rings a bell. I can't place that face. Regina Meredith. I can't place
Okay,
it.
well, here's the punchline. Here's the punchline. Gaia does not let women out of their cages. They get them all in, they rope us in, and then they hide your shit. So they let two girls out, period. One is Linda Moulton Howe, and, she'll do what she's told. And, there's war in the sky, and there's a war in the earth, and everybody be scared, and she'll do what she's told. And then there's Regina Meredith, the blonde. She did 2 shows in the last year that will probably go down in history. One of them is the FLFE. Focused light frequency. It's directed energy. And she's selling this thing that is for only $1 a day. We can take your spirituality and blow it through the roof. And there's these 2 clowns on the couch that are these great inventors of the fluffy, the focused light energy thing. And for only $1 a day, $3.50 a year, we will dose your house with spiritual light and frequencies that will make you so spiritual that you will pop up to 500, whatever their little meter was, like us. Most people are at 350. So she's selling this thing, and in the beginning of the show, all we need is your permission, your address, and your GPS, and you to pay. And she admits that right off the bat, she gifted an 83-year-old woman without asking her permission. And luckily, the woman was fine. And, woo, that's a nice story. Soon as I started asking questions about the fluffy, because what they're doing is selling directed energy something to people's homes that's not, as you say, monitored or watched by anyone. So where's it coming from? These 2 random guys on a couch that don't look like there's any chance in hell. They're real scientists that have come up with this moving energy through space thing, but they're the props sitting on the couch, and Regina's doing this interview and encouraging people to sign up for Fluffy. And you can get the first 30 days for free. You should see the testimonials of people that are like sick. And 2 more today came in because all I do is ask, did anybody sign up for Fluffy? And people are like, oh my God. And everybody has the same responses: suicidal, depression, and just terrible emotional stuff. And it's nonstop, it's constant. Both the husband and wife, night sweating. He doesn't sweat. She's, menopause, not him, but really bad. So they're asking them to turn the Fluffy off. And some of it's lingering, the people aren't healing, and they're actually moving locations. This is not okay. But now that we're starting to talk about the Fluffy, people are writing us. And I've got a circle of 10 journalists that I work with. And now we're getting information that not only are they trying to sell this directed energy to people that sign up, but now the owner of the company has created a little black box. And the little black box is going to be called the Gaia box. And it's going to be given to everybody with a subscription to have in your home. Now, this to me is about the creepiest, scariest thing I've ever heard this company doing. And this is where I'm drawing the line. It doesn't even matter what Jem is talking about. The Luciferian thing, the devil worship, the horrific everything. The actual words of their top guy saying shit, 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 and batty, patty, insulting films that they are the exclusive rights. I mean, it's so blatant that they're the ones behind all this. But when the Gem team went public with really how bad it is there, things started to blow up. And they led me kind of on an interesting little day. Every day I had to drop this long, cryptic message from Gem. And I said, how do I know that you're not Gaia writing to me, setting me up to do some slander thing? And so they said, ask us a question. So I did. I said, who's hacking me and how are they doing it? And when they answered this, that's when I went, okay, thank you. I've got it in writing. But again, can't use it in a court of law. It's just, it brings down to the ground what I always knew. So I said, okay, you want me to believe you who's hacking me? Here's what Jem wrote. This is not from me. CEO has non-Gaia spooks hack. Not from building. Many non-FDA toys. Plugging in mind control techniques from CERN. Contact, interview, major info, exposed, ready to spill all. I said, how was Jay Widener involved? Because he's been the only one publicly rude. And he's kind of like an 18-year-old on steroids rude. That's just disgusting. And he's always disgusting. It's not like classy or things that make sense. It's like 18-year-old boy on steroids. So they answered, Jay was not involved, not directly, only trolling you daily, reporting to CEO. CEO follows up with spooks. Jason, behavior, along with CEO, brought Jem together. Harassment, bully, hates women, hashtag me too, totally sick, Jem. And I said, who are their hackers? And he said, or she said, I don't know who it is, agency assets, CEO has access, CEO panicking, all execs in panic mode, sending David Wilcock letter, arrives late in the day, justice, Jem. And I'm thinking, oh God, this might be real. Do I want any part of this? Because I don't want any more with the commission. They're what they are. So I did drop their things for them, guessing I was one of many, and I shared it with a lot of people, and they dropped it also. But all of a sudden on the day when they dropped the letter, they said, we want you to drop it at 3:33. And I was like, I'm not dropping it. I am not going to be that person. And all of a sudden at 1 o'clock, I got the letter. And I opened it and saw it was really long, and I physically started shaking because I realized this is real. This is friggin' real, and I've got it in my hands and nobody knows yet. Oh crap. So I called my friend at You Are Free TV who dropped it. She's got over 52,000 hits today. And I said, I can't even read it alone. Let me read it with you. Let me send it to you. We'll both read it and then we'll talk. And she did an incredible job. She just opened up the audience and she said, this just happened and I'm going to read the letter. And very calmly, she just read it verbatim and it has gone viral.
Well, it's gone viral in
pretending.
It's gone viral in this field. I mean, as soon as you get out of this field, no one knows what we're talking about. So it's viral in this field. Yes, it is. I'm just keeping it into a perspective there because we can soon get carried away that, it's bigger than it is, and it's not.
Well, in Pizzagate, pedophilia, Pizzagate, it's in its own field, but it doesn't minimize how disgusting and pornorific it is, and how all those people need to be removed. It doesn't minimize it because
that's
only
that's if 10% of that stuff was true about what I mean. When you talk about a box in the home with a Gaia box, I mean, surely that's just a box for maybe. I mean, I don't know what box that is. That you're talking about, but I'm thinking, is that like an Apple box where you got direct access to Gaia without having to go to plug a laptop in or use a smart TV? It's just an HDMI box that just you've got all your Gaia selection on. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what that little box is that they were thinking of bringing out. But that's a smart business move, though, isn't it?
Yeah, Kevin. Maybe they're a really sweet group of guys. Maybe they are the nicest guys in the world, and all the journalists.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I'm sure they've got their crappy points. I'm sure they have, but I think there's a lot of mixture here of a few things going on here, which it's easy to turn it into something Luciferian, crazy and insane, and it's just a moving of people moving on. And when David goes and Corey goes, they'll be the next people that will take over their place. I mean, that will happen, you know. I mean, if a guy is going to survive, there'll be the next David Wilcock, and there'll be the next Corey Good.
Well, if you keep promoting them like this, it could be you or Freddie Silva or
I have no
Tom Randall.
I have no wish to do that actually. I want to be on a much bigger scale. I want to do a show like Oprah one day, and I want to do a much more mainstream show, and I'll be leaving this industry one day. I have no wish to stay in a small community. I want to help people on a much bigger scale with real life inspirational stories. I've loved this industry, but I won't be doing it forever. So no, it will not be me. I don't, you know, no.
Don't minimize your form and your ability to think. Don't do anything over there until this chapter is over, because I don't care if you believe me or not, it is not safe to go to these events.
It's not that I don't believe you. I'm coming into this interview and saying, right, let's ground it a bit. I think there's a lot of ungroundedness. I think the letter from David is completely ungrounded in some respects. I think there's a lot of ungrounded stuff going. I just think there's a lot of people in this field who are ungrounded, and I could be just one of them as well. But I don't think. I try not to be. I try to just ground it and bring it back down to a sense of reality. And I think, you know, I saw your interview on that other lady's channel that you mentioned, who you gave the letter to. And, you know, when she talks about, you know, Lucifer agenda, you know, Colorado having a massive underground base and all this kind of stuff, and it's got a Lucifer agenda. I mean, it's just like, hang on, where's the ground in this? In something that being said, there's no ground in this.
I'm not rationalizing David or Corey. I'm not talking about them ever, because I don't have any issue, because I don't watch their stuff. I'm not about them. I'm about helping humans move out of the problem that we are living in. And this is really serious right now. People don't need to believe in crop circles being messages. People don't need to believe in the fact that we could get back to having real food again without Monsanto being in the picture. And people, I think, are really ready for the next. And it doesn't include Gaia. And it doesn't include Soros. And it doesn't include the Clintons or the Queen. I think that we are in for a shift like we have never seen before. Well, and the fact that this GEM movement and David Revelations, I'm not a David fan, but the letter at least made a lot of his people wake up and realize, holy crap. I did kind of notice that Luciferian symbol here and there, but beyond that, what I think you didn't really put the pieces together, unfortunately, is that they are working with frequencies, and I'm quite certain I got hit with them. I'm certain that a lot of people got hit with them, including my beautiful friend Jim Mars. I was hit on the David Wilcock panel twice, and I got up and left the stage. And it was in 2016, and Jim was on that panel, and he died within 6 months. I didn't. I came back the following year. He called me 8 weeks before the gig and tried to fire me because Gaia made her. And I said, you're calling me what? She goes, oh, I'm 3 speakers over and I would cancel you. And I was like, I'm on the posters. I've been promoting. I got hit last year on David's panel. I left the stage. I yelled at security. Do you remember that? And you're going to ask me not to speak? Go. So bottom line, I was like, fine. And 2 weeks later, I was at the International UFO Congress with 1,500 people. And everybody's saying, can't wait to see you next month at the desert. And I said, oh, they just fired me. I won't be speaking. They, what? I said, yeah, they fired me. It's Gaiam now. It's Gaiam now. So about the 15th person, I was like, damn it. And I knew I was going to win Best Film. And I didn't know People's Choice, but it did happen the next night. So now I'm feeling kind of cocky. I've got my big voodoo baby next to me, this big, beautiful black woman that was there for security. And then I had this other woman there that's a monster psychic and can, you know, and it's not like I do witchy anything. I do not. But when it comes to dealing with people of this caliber, I bring protection. You know, David and Stephen Greer, who I'm not related to, they bring guys with big weapons. You know, I bring women.
Well,
that are
David,
talented.
when I was with David, he had 2 bodyguards there,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute! Who else is walking around with bodyguards?" I just that to me was a big surprise seeing David with 2 big bodyguards, and I just don't get where, you know, because like I say, when you walk outside the door of Contact, it's like Contact what? UFO what? And it's like, oh yeah, okay, you guys, yeah, okay, it's a small thing. It seems big, but it's small. And when I saw those bodyguards with David, I was shocked, because I was like, wait, this community is not like that. There's not those. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's had death threats, but I mean, I was just surprised. Crazy stuff. It's entertainment. It was entertainment, definitely.
Well, when I left the stage, I yelled at the bodyguards, both of them. Dan, who doesn't need weapons, and then the guy who says he's a cop and he's cocked and locked with all kinds of weapons. And I said, I told you yesterday about that man. If I could see him, he's too close, and I'm going to point, and I'm going to tell everybody who he is and what he's doing. This is 2016, and Paul Andrew said, don't do that. And I said, then you get him out of here. And sure enough, I got hit. So as it turns out, it's not like I want to take down anything. What I cared about was from not having to go through what I've gone through, and the other 35 people that I know of that got hit. But now we've got this Regina thing, which is the fluffy, and they're hitting people in their homes with frequencies that are making people depressed, suicidal, sick, and one guy has cancer now.
Okay.
So
okay. Well, look.
Testimonies
Yeah.
to a lot of people. This is not safe.
I mean, look.
So what they're
Yeah. Look, I don't agree with what you're saying there. You can say it on my show. I'm okay with it, but I'm going to say now I don't agree with what you're saying with the directed energy weapons. I don't think that stuff's going on in the industry. If you believe it is, then I'm not. Okay. Would you ever consider there's a chance that that's not happening? That never happened to you, and it was something else. Would you ever consider that in your head that it wasn't a directed energy weapon? It was something else.
maybe if I was really drunk.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, at least you.
I don't drink, so it would only take one drink, and I'd be really drunk. Maybe then you could convince me that when I went to the airport and fell to the ground, and there was no way in hell I could walk, and needed a wheelchair to get to the plane, and I was alone.
Yeah.
You couldn't that moment, because 2 days before, that guy got mad at me. The owner of the corporation told Brad Olson to tell me she better back off.
Right.
And then he stood there with his arms crossed for 20 minutes, and I said to my psychic friend, he's standing there too long, I don't feel comfortable. I believe that torsion takes a couple days, and it took a couple days, and I was on the ground. So was another man that was a volunteer. Neither of us could walk. So were two friends of Laura Eisenhower. Neither of them could walk. Couldn't walk. I am still dealing with it every freaking day. So Kevin, no. I don't think even drunk you could convince me that that didn't happen, or that the fluffy is a good thing, or that the black box that's going to be gifted to every member that's paying $10 a month is a good thing. But, no, the guy who told us about it had met with the owner, watched him both.
Okay, no. Okay.
I've never done this on the air.
No,
Never.
No, that's okay. That's okay. And I'm always about the opposite as well. I'm not just going to say, see, for years on my show, I was like, yeah, tell me what you think. Yeah, oh yeah, tell me, bring it all through. Yeah, I agree. And in the end, after a few years of doing this work and everything else, I'm like, no, there's always an opposing opinion, and there should be. There should be, and this community doesn't do it enough. There's so many hosts out there doing this type of show that are guilty of just letting the person speak and not giving the opposing opinion sometimes. And I don't think it's healthy for anyone. But that's just my opinion.
This is the biggest I've ever dropped. And it's really not for every audience, and it's certainly not for very many hosts. I did it 2 hours ago with Laura Eisenhower, who knows David and Corey, and Sarah Westall, who's been following the heaviest stories going on, which are not lollipops and roses. It is going to be the women, unfortunately, that are going to have to drop it, because the guys are still starry-eyed with Gaia. And I never say their name, but we're talking details. And if you went to Glassdoor reviews,
Sure.
And
I'm gonna link that up. I'm not starry-eyed. I do support the women in this field. I really do, because there's not enough of them. There's not, right? And there should be many more, or at least equal. I do support the women in this field. Don't think I don't, right? But here's a question to you. Here's a question to you, right? When Gaia goes, if Gaia was to go, right, which is fine, right, if that happens, right, it's just a business, right, but and then people will just be starting their own platforms on YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, it's no biggie, is it?
When Scientology goes, what will replace it?
Some other crazy religion.
Okay, then there's your answer.
Well, there's the answer then. There's the answer then. It won't be Gaia. It would be something else. It'd be the same company, a different name then. But I mean, look. Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but as a filmmaker, but me as a filmmaker in this field, right. So I've now done a documentary on channeling, right. I've not released it yet. I'm still editing it, right. I don't have to go to Gaia. I can go other places, and I could actually release it myself. I mean, just because another Gaia pops up, it doesn't mean that that's the only player in town. There's other ways to monetize your products nowadays.
You have no idea how hard I'm trying, and I'm biting my tongue because I did the final try with a group called Distributor. I paid them $4,000 8 months ago. I'm still waiting. So they were going to submit me everywhere. I paid them to submit me, and in my contract I wrote nothing having to do with Gaia. But when there is a group that's connected with those that control the media, all aspects of media, and they have a little blackball list. Doesn't matter who you pay, who you work for, but you're a guy. And as long as you do a movie with Sean.
Hang on. Let me just give you an example here. My ex-girlfriend was a lady called Joanna So, right? I watched her start her YouTube channel from zero. She now has 1.3 million or more subscribers. She is Asia's biggest fitness guru, okay? And of course she's a woman. Listen, you can make it big being a woman. You can make it big being an independent person. I've seen it with my ex-partner. Yeah, who now earns thousands and thousands a month just from YouTube revenue, let alone other things, right? I know that's fitness, that's not in this field, but I've seen things explode, right? I don't buy that just because you're a woman in this field, you can't make it work.
That's not at all what I said. You can't make it work with a guy and boys. That's all I said.
Yeah, but then there must be what about an alternative platform for yourself? There must be an alternative platform that people can do themselves. It doesn't have to be Gaia. That's my point. You can, if you've got a documentary.
It doesn't have to be. You don't have to worry. Seriously, you have nothing to worry about. And what I went through was only me. That's all I can talk about. It was only me. But the people getting hit with weapons is a hell of a lot of people. It's the people that see through what a lot of people are missing. And those people are getting hit and really hurt and minimized. But it doesn't make us weak. It makes us stronger. So behind the wall of secrecy, we have built a community of people that are bringing in a new paradigm. And it's new research. It's going to be new events. And nothing about that corporation is coming into the next. So, in my opinion, if that house of cards collapses, there's nothing there, not even the toilets that we're going to need for the new paradigm. So everybody can still clamor and pay their fees, but if you get a black box in your home, good luck with that. That's all I'm going to say. This is real. I didn't make it up. Somebody told me that they were there at the corporation and the owner was blasting about how proud he was. This is not small. This is not a gift like in your home. This is serious shit. And it's happening today, and it's classy people like Jay Wagner and the owner and the fake doctor that had people strip and turn. It is a shit show there, and I'm not too proud to say it. So I wish all of you luck with your films, and all of you luck with your books and your research. And if anybody decides to go to any of these upcoming events in Colorado, holy crap, I wish you luck living. I won't be at any of them, even though it's kind of my backyard. But you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe in crop circles or any of this. You know, I'm not here to push an agenda. And frankly, I live in the most beautiful place now. I don't need this anymore. I've got a totally different business where I do really well. I don't need any of this anymore. But for whatever reason, Jem chose me to be one of the people to bring it. And I brought it good and fast. And I'm really proud of what they've done. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's the young ones there, the old ones there, but whoever it is, they're really, really brave. And I'm very grateful. And I think that the House of Cards is going to fall, and there's going to be nothing left that we're going to want to resurrect. And when I'm talking about new paradigm. I'm talking about the younger people that deserve a clean world, and Monsanto and Gaia and Soros and all these things are not really even going to be a part of the discussion. It's not about how do we clean up the slime. It's about flush the toilet and move on. And that's where I'm focused. I'm not here to debate if Gaia is good or bad or if they're hiding my film. I don't even care. But I do care about the black box going into everybody's homes, because that's too many people that are going to be unsuspecting and are going to be really, really screwed. So.
Well, okay. Well, thank you very much. I also think we need to flush the toilet with some of the other hosts out there, some of the other researchers out there, some of the other people coming forward to say they've had experiences, because I think there's so much crap out there.
Who's on your top crap list?
There's a few, but I'm not going to say right now.
Okay.
Who's
your rock stars? Who do you think is fabulous?
Who do I think is fabulous? Who do I think is really good? Some of the younger generational people I've met who aren't in it for the ego.
Who? Who do you like?
I'm talking about some of the younger channelers that I've met, some of the younger regressionists that I've met recently, some of the newer people who don't come, you won't have met these, but I've met them on my journey, some of these people that are coming into this field who don't come from a sickened mental health illness and a sickened ego.
New paradigm. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. New paradigm. So I'll meet you on the other side, and one of us is either really good, the other one's really off, but from everything I see, and unfortunately I'm in the town where they are, and so even when there's a fire on the mountain and I have to evacuate, even then I had to meet the owner's house or wired it. I don't remember, but it's like, leave me alone. I don't want to know more.
I understand. And listen, I really appreciate you. I mean, people are going to hate me interviewing you right now, but I really appreciate you putting up with my crap as well on here and allowing me just to have a bit of a debate with you as well.
Well, you represent the stuck people. Sorry. I mean, you represent them really well, because nobody wants to believe that they were lied to, or that the corporation they've been supporting for $10 a month, they shouldn't have. Nobody wants to believe it. And everybody wants to work there or get their movie there or be on their show, but they don't get it. That they're you. So anyway, I think you did a great job representing those who are not willing to step over it. But even Laura Eisenhower, it took her until 2 days ago, and is the day I'm going to remember, is the day you finally crossed over the log and went, holy crap. So there will be that day for you and everybody else. I just hope it's not too late,
What-
because I'm
right.
telling you, I'm concerned.
But I'm not representing the people that love Gaia. I'm representing, or trying to represent, a middle ground with it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just saying, where's the middle ground? Middle ground, middle ground. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not saying, I'm not, yeah, that's all I'm trying to do.
Gaia, it's about the directed energy weapons. It's not about Gaia. It's about this really dangerous technology. That's where I'm having an issue.
Okay. Okay.
I limp because I got hit by a goddamn weapon. And it was silent. It went through the air, and it took a couple days to hit me, but I have no doubt. And now I've got physical documentation from somebody inside that watched Jay troll me every day and watched the owner make sure that his hackers were nailing everything about my work. But you know what? I stopped caring 2 years ago, and almost every day somebody is streaming Crop Circle Diaries in one of 5 or 6 countries. I mean, every day I wake up. Oh, fantastic. It's so over it. I mean, UFO TV was another distributor I had. 66 pennies a month. For 8 years. 66 pennies a month, not even $1. And I locked him out at the end of 8 years, but then for years later, he was selling me on his website and Walmart.com. And I never got a penny.
Yeah, I don't agree. I mean, yeah, but, you know, and let me just say, pirators have no, they don't think about these things. They're just in there to make their own money. A pirater does not think about, you know, what this is going to do for the person that's produced that material. So they don't care about that. They don't care. Mm-mm. So.
Well, talking about what's happening with this company is like talking to straight people about chemtrails. I mean, sometimes you gotta go, why am I wasting my... I look like an idiot. They don't want to be scared. They don't want to... But that's what's going to happen if this company collapses, is everybody's going to go, chemtrails, you're just a conspiracy theorist. So my new line is, I don't fight. I just go, well, there you go.
Okay, no, and listen, I appreciate you coming on. You've given me your time. You've given me 1 hour 40 minutes of your time here, and I really appreciate you allowing me to go that deep with you. You know, you are a documentary maker. This wasn't the path that you were meant to be taking, and that's but it's what you've been thrust in. So I appreciate you coming on for that. Just know that, okay?
Thank you. Have you seen any of my films?
No, not yet. Not yet, but I will do. I'll see it through a legit means, as well. Yeah.
Circle Diary is the most important thing I've ever done.
Okay.
I want you to know this last distribution story. So I paid distributor to take Crop Circle Diaries out on 11 platforms. Now this is the only company where you can pay them to submit your film. And I delivered everything, but somehow between my hand and them, my entire Crop Circle Diaries was minimized to mono. The stereo's gone. The tracks are gone off the masters after I worked with some idiot. And I can't even tell you how bad it is. But they somehow got both my masters squeezed to mono. So now that I paid them $4,000, they're only going to distribute it to one platform, and this morning, and Amazon might not take it because it's mono. And I'm like, the #1 film last year in ufology, the People's Choice Award in ufology, and I paid you $4,000, and even distributor, because I'm guessing they've got their balls in a noose like everybody else. Everybody's controlled now, and if it comes to people that are doing the right thing, your film's not going to get... But if you can be, I'm sorry to say, and I'm not a victim of womanhood, but it's only in ufology. I'm not talking about your girlfriend in some other country, Asia, who's doing yoga videos or stretching. That's lovely. I'm really happy for her, but that had nothing to do with this. I'm only talking about women in ufology, and between Jay and Jerka, the owner of the corporation. There are no women in ufology other than the blonde, Regina, doing the shows that are promoting things that they want promoted, and Linda, who, was started with Rockefeller, and she's going to complete it with Gaia. So,
well, I like your honesty. I do. Okay. Well, look. Listen. This has been interesting, and who knows, our paths may cross one day in person rather than doing it over a Skype interview. But I just want to say, look, your website's been coming on throughout this interview. Your images of your movies have been coming up on the screen as well, with a little bit of bio about your movies throughout this interview. I just want to say, Patty Greer, just thank you so much for coming on today.
Pleasure, and my website is cropcirclefilms.com.